Hello, welcome to my diabetic diary. This is the first entry and hopefully the first of many. My plan is to share my findings with you and create this diary and work on improving my blood sugars, sharing experiences with you with regard to what works for me, what doesn't work for me, and we need to bear in mind that we're all different. So the way that our blood sugars react to food, medication, exercise will all be different. So what works for me may not work for you. So just bear that in mind. If I can help anybody, then it's made this diary worthwhile. And I think if we can all share experiences of what works for us, what doesn't work for us, what we've tried, what we haven't tried, it will make life a lot easier for us all. So let me start with this. I've only recently been introduced to sensors, and I'm currently on Libre Link and working on that. And when that first came along, that to me was a huge improvement on the regular finger pricks. I've got to be honest, I didn't like doing them, and quite often I used to go quite a long while with not doing a test, so my sugars were a bit all over the place. When the Libre Link came along and I was asked to do it and kind of do a trial for our surgery really, and it helped. It was good to be able to look on the app on my phone. I don't use a reader, I use the app on the phone. And to be able to see what my sugar levels were instantly was brilliant. So it didn't matter to me whether they were reading 5.9 or 9.5. I knew I was in the safe zone, or I needed to have some insulin, or I might have been low and I needed to have some food. Now, after using the Libre Link for about a month, I lost a little bit of confidence in it, and that's because the damn thing lies. And let me tell you why. So the readings can be fairly inaccurate. What I've found is that the sensor itself is designed to be in place for 14 days, but from around day 12 the accuracy starts to drop off. And those of you who use Libre Link will know that you get a graph and you'll get this up and down wavy line showing where your sugar levels have been or glucose levels have been, and then you'll get a coloured dot if you do a scan. And there's also there's actually 3 alarms available. There's one where the sensor loses connection to the app, and then you need to rescan it, and that's normally because you're more than 6 meters away from your phone. It does do it when I've got the phone in my pocket, so it's not 100% foolproof. Then you get a high level alarm, which I believe the default on that is around 13.3, something like that. And I've left mine on that basically to start with, and then I started to drop it down so that the higher sugar levels became more aware for me, and I've currently got mine set on 12.4, I believe. The low sugar alarm was set on 3.9, I believe, when it came. I've set mine to 5, and the reason I've done this is when my blood sugars go down, I can have some glucose, some chocolate, some carbs, whatever it is that I'm going to have to boost my levels back up a little bit. But my metabolism is very slow, so it can be like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, sometimes even 40 minutes before my body starts to absorb that and the levels start to go back up. So that gives me a little bit of a time to react before I start going into hypo. So if it's set at 5 and the alarm goes off at 5, I'll go and have something to eat or drink, but the level will still carry on falling, and hopefully I've caught it in time before we drop below 4, which depending on where you are in the world. Here in the UK, they'll register that as a hypo. For those of you who don't know what a hypo is, it's where your sugar levels drop below a certain level and you start to feel lightheaded, sweaty, cold sweats, and if they carry on dropping, you'll go into a hypoglycemic coma. So it's very important that you don't let your sugar levels drop too low. So going back to the sensor, I found that they're not quite as accurate as you would like to think. When you see the adverts on the telly, they're all singing, all dancing, they'll do this, they'll do that. You don't have to do this. You still need to do a finger prick check every so often. And what would be really good for me is those of you that are using the Libre Link or the Dexcom G6, G7, whatever it is you use, and I believe there are now other manufacturers making them, but it may well be that that is not available in the UK where I am. It may be that you're in America and you have Joe Blogs doing the sensors over there. You may be in China and you've got Mr. Wong's sensors, whatever it is. So drop me a message below. Let me know what sensor you use, how accurate you find it, and any other issues that you might have got with that sensor. Now I know that the G7, the Dexcom G7, there is an issue with them not being very sticky. Now whether that's the type of adhesive they use or there's just not enough of it, I'm not sure. But what they've done is they've devised a sticky patch with a hole in the middle that you put over the sensor once it's applied, which increases the sticky area so it should stay on your arm a bit longer. I didn't have an issue with the Libre Link ones until fairly recently, and I think I must have got my last lot as part of a bad batch, where there's either no adhesive or very little adhesive on the pads, because I've had 3 drop off in less than an hour. Now I'm doing everything that I should do before applying these. I am cleaning my arm with an alcoholic swab wipe, and then I'm making sure it's dry, and then I hold the sensor in place for a bit. Once it's done, I run my finger around the edge to make sure everything's all done correctly. Now I'm going to insert a picture just in case this doesn't come out on the video, but you will see, I'll try and get you in a bit closer there, I've got sticky bits all over the place. Trying to keep the sensor on. And what happens is if that sensor comes loose, the filament that goes into your arm that actually monitors the blood can either come out or not be in the right place, and then you start to get erratic readings again. So you need to make sure that everything is in the right place and working as it should do. I lost a little bit of confidence in it when I started to find some of the issues, and I've also had, going back to the graph, where my blood sugars have gone below 5, set the alarm off, I've reacted to it and had something to eat or drink. The sugar levels have continued to fall and they've gone down maybe 4.7, 4.5, and I've actually had a couple of times where they've dropped below 4, so they might have gone down to as low as 3.8 by the time whatever I've had to eat or drink has kicked in and started to rise the level, started to increase the levels, and then when you look at the graph, it doesn't show that it's gone below 5. So there are discrepancies of what is actually happening and how you read it. You almost have to interpret it and allow for issues that shouldn't really be there. I know these sensors are fairly new to the market. I believe Libre Link has now been out for a couple of years in the UK. It may well be 10 years old in another part of the world, I really couldn't tell you. For me, I'm just coming up on 2 months of these now. I have negotiated with my nurse to try the Dexcom G7 and see how I get on with that. Now, I guess there will be issues with that as well. Nothing is perfect. We don't live in a perfect world. I'm going to give it a try. I know for a fact they've got issues with the patches sticking, the sensors sticking, but they've come around it with this extra patch that goes over the top. But they don't lose connectivity with your phone or your reader as much as the Libre Link one does. So I'm going to give those a shot. My diabetic nurse has kindly gone on holiday and not organised it before she went, so I need to wait for her to come back so that we can give that one a try. I've got the app downloaded on my phone all ready to go, so we'll see what happens there. What other lies does this thing tell me? So I'll give you an example. I was sitting eating my tea last night, and for the life of me at the moment it escapes me what I had, but my sugar levels were 5.6 I believe when I started to eat. Now I'd already had my insulin about 20 minutes beforehand, which is what I was recommended to do, and what I found out is when you eat, if your sugar level is low and dropping, or low or dropping, it's easier to read it as you eat, if that makes sense. It's a little bit confusing. If you eat first and then have the insulin after, it seems to take more insulin stroke exercise to get the levels back down to the acceptable range. Whereas if you have it beforehand, the insulin seems to start working on your body before the food hits it, and then it's there ready. So I tend to have mine 20 minutes, maybe half an hour before I eat. Last night my sugar levels, as I said, I think that was 5.6 when I started to eat. I ate my tea, and there would have been carbs in there. Actually, I'm thinking about it, I believe I had chicken nuggets with fries, so there were carbs there. And within half an hour of eating my tea, it was reading 10.8. My sugar levels have gone up to 10.8, which doesn't seem to make a great deal of sense. Now, what I thought I would do is I would go and have another 4 units of insulin just to stop that. On the Libre Link, there's a trained arrow, so next to the figure you get for your blood sugars, there'll be an arrow, and it'll either point to 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, or 6 o'clock. Now, if it's pointing straight up or straight down, your sugar levels are either spiking rapidly up or falling very quickly. It's much better, sorry I missed one out, they do point to 3 o'clock as well. It's much better that they're 2, 3 or 4 o'clock. So that's a more of a controlled rise or fall, and it's not putting your body into any form of shock. And something happened, I believe my phone rang, and I didn't get to go and get the extra bit of insulin. I was on the phone for about 10-15 minutes. When I got off the phone, my sugar levels had dropped back down to 6 point something. So bear that in mind. Only use the sensors as a guide. When they start to get erratic, it can lead you into taking food or insulin unnecessarily. If you're in doubt, if you see a sudden spike of your sugar levels and no reason for it, I mean, it's not as if you've just gone and had a big bar of chocolate or something, then obviously it will do that. But if you haven't, if you're being sensible with what you eat and what you drink, and you suddenly find you've got this spike, do a finger prick test, because I'm pretty sure that these sensors are not as accurate as they make out to be. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this video a little bit short, or this diary entry a little bit short, so that it doesn't go on and on and on. I don't want to bore people and not have them watch. But please, write in the comments below if you've had issues. Let me know what sensor you use, or what blood monitor you use, what issues you've had, and how you've got around those issues. And I can share that with other people then, and then hopefully we can make life a lot easier for all of us. For this nasty disease, and it's not always where people are overweight. I know I'm not the smallest of people. I did really well and I lost 25 kilos in weight, had my insulin changed and put 14 kilos on in 4 weeks. So yeah, insulin will put weight on. So I'm going to leave this one here and now. Please like and subscribe the channel. I really want to make it quite a big channel, and hopefully within the next 3 or 4 weeks the house move will have gone through. We won't have this echoey room. I'll be back to a sensible level of audio for you without the echo and stuff like that, and we can keep you updated with where I am with my diabetes and share information that I've gained from you guys commenting below. So with that, stay safe, eat healthy, catch you all soon. Bye.